Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to Over and Out. My name's Jon Surtees. I'm joined after day 4 of the Rothesay County Championship match between Surrey and Hampshire at the Keir Oval by Cameron Ponsonby. Good evening, Cameron.
Good evening, John. Pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, Cameron. First podcast of the year, first broadcast of the year. Pleasure to have you. Let's do the numbers. Hampshire started the day 35 for 3. They ended it on 300 for 5. Nick Gubbins got 117. Toby Albert 78 not out. Jordan Clark and Matt Fisher got 2 wickets each for Surrey. The match was drawn. Surrey emerged with 12 points. Hampshire got 11 points. So, Cameron, your overall take on the action from day 4 here at the Keir Oval?
I think first and foremost, you've got to say Hampshire have played very, very well. They've lost 2 wickets on the final day's play. When they arrived here 3 down, you'd have said that Surrey were quite heavy favourites to walk away here with a victory. But as it turns out, both teams are probably feeling equally disappointed. I feel like that's the vibe at the moment, rather than it being a case of to use football parlance, both teams walking away happy with the points. Both teams will look back on this match and go, blimey, we had opportunities to win that. Hampshire finished 5 down, still I think it was around 70 short, and it was bubbling.
Yeah.
So a potentially fantastic ending, and unfortunately the light won out in the end.
It's one of those things when you play any sport across 4 days, there's going to be a massive amount of variables. There's going to be variables caused by human beings, there's going to be variables caused by the pitch, there's going to be variables caused by the crowd, there's going to be variables caused by the weather. And ultimately, over the course of the 4 days, there was just probably 1 or 2 too many variables for there to be a positive result in this game. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, I think it followed the pattern of what we've seen at the Oval over the last few years, where you win the toss, you bowl, it's when the pitch is at its liveliest, and you try and get ahead of the game. And then later on into the match, you see these big scores pile up, and people score their centuries, and people make their 400 plus scores. And we just saw it again, but having lost a bit more time in the match, we lost the time to force 40 wickets, as it were. That makes it sound like there isn't players to blame or credit for that. Well, credit is what I really mean, because again, we'll get to him in full extent, but Nick Gubbins has batted beautifully today. He scored 100 on the last day of the match to save the match and then potentially win the match for his team. That's high quality cricket. We saw high quality cricket throughout day 4. It's just, I keep on saying it's a shame, but it's not a shame. It was a good draw for both teams.
It was, and Nick Gubbins, as you say, high quality player who Surrey have seen a lot of over the last decade or so, and probably will see him 1 or 2 more times. Thank you very much for whoever it was that just flew over, either on their way from or to Heathrow Airport. Apologies for that if that spoiled your listening experience, but we are basically live here. So let's do our 5 questions of the day. Cameron Ponsonby, moment of the day, please.
Moment of the day actually came in the morning session, and it was when Matt Fisher was bowling to Toby Albert, and they basically, whisper it quietly, I know this is the Surrey broadcast, but I really enjoy it when players have a bit of a back and forth with each other. And I say back and forth, it was only one way. Matt Fisher was winning the contest over Albert, who got 1 off 27 in the first innings. He hadn't yet got off the mark, and he was 15, 20 balls into his innings. Matt Fisher knew he was on top. He was giving him a little bit of verbals after each ball, letting him know what's happening. And it came out the other side. Albert rode the wave. He finished not out for about 75 at the end of the day. But as a microcosm of the match, of the competition, that was my moment of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really great competition. And I think one of the great things from this game, from a perspective of a Surrey fan, is that you've seen what Matt Fisher's going to offer in a Surrey shirt. You've seen that commitment, that quality, I think, is the most important thing there. And yeah, really does add another aspect to what's already a pretty impressive pace attack. Cameron, the player of the day for you, please.
Player of the day, obvious choice today, it is Nick Gubbins. He finished on 117. It was his 20th first-class century. He came in really tricky conditions yesterday evening when Hampshire had fallen to 30 for 3. But there was a bit of a false scorecard in that 2 of those wickets were the night watchers that had been in play. Gubbins, who normally is batting at 3, came in at 5. And he basically steadied the ship from there on in. He batted resolutely, I'd say, in the morning session, where the runs weren't flowing, but he looked increasingly comfortable against a high-quality seam attack. And eventually, when he did bring up 3 figures, he got his team into that position where, really, if they were going to lose from there, it was going to take something spectacular from Surrey. And when he did get out, as again, one of only 2 wickets to fall on the day, you thought, has he got Hampshire close enough to actually win? It wasn't to be, but without doubt, player of the day.
Another plane coming over there to hear your Nick Gubbins take. Cameron, what brought you joy today?
What brought me joy today? This is a really twee answer, and I apologise, but it was my first day back working the season. I've been away for the last few days, and being able to catch up with friends and colleagues and be back at the Kia Oval for another day of County Championship cricket. I apologise for those people rolling their eyes at home, but it is my absolute answer today.
Not to at all. I think very relatable. Lots of people had their first day of County Championship cricket back at the Kia Oval this year. You know, probably over 10,000 of them over the course of the week. So I think actually, Cameron, no face rolling at all there. No face rolling, no eye rolling. Don't roll.
Maybe as well.
Yeah, don't roll your face, roll your eyes. Don't even roll your eyes. Very relatable answer. Lots of people enjoyed their first taste of County Championship cricket of the season, and I think there'll be a lot more coming back. Cameron, quite quickly now, give us something to talk about.
Something to talk about. Well, the controversy of the match will be how it ended. There were 10 overs left in the day's play when eventually it was deemed that the light wasn't good enough. Hampshire needed around 78 more runs. We'd put in so much time. We were 3.9 days through a 4-day match.
Those was who 4 days did, yeah.
That's a good point. I'd put in 0.9 days time into this cricket game. And we were there. We had a chance of it being a really, really good and exciting finish. And it just wasn't allowed to happen. And I understand that the laws of the game are such, and you set the precedent of, right, this is the level of light at the moment. We've gone off from this for safety reasons beforehand. We've got to be fair and true throughout the match. But I always come back to the idea of, like, I think this is a good way of putting it. Two of my friends who are kind of club cricketers, have played hundreds if not thousands of cricket games between them, texted me at the end of the match going, that's such a shame, and they may have used some different words at some point. And I think if
like a pity.
A pity. It was 4 letters, if that works. They, where if two people is kind of wise in the tooth, old in the tooth, something like that.
Long in the tooth.
Long in the tooth. Thank you. I do words for a living. It's good. If the two people as long in the tooth as that are going, that's so frustrating that we've lost the potential for a great game in that kind of circumstance, it's very hard to explain and sell elsewhere. I think that will basically lead to the same conversations we've had every year about light issues, whether you can play under floodlights, whether it's a chance for a different ball, whether it's a case of starting earlier. And I know you might be bored of hearing about it, but because of days like today, we'll talk about it a little bit more in the future.
Yeah, sure thing. Cameron, final question. Normally on Oval and Out, it's why should I tune in tomorrow?
Yeah.
Why should I come here tomorrow? We're not going to say that today because it's day 4. Special question. Why should I come and watch the next game? And there's a really obvious and a really exciting answer for this. I'm really excited for April 23rd at Beckenham. Why should we be tuning in on YouTube? Why should we get down to Beckenham on April 23rd? Cameron.
Surrey Women's first game officially as the new Tier 1 side and the new Tier 1 setup. Going to be at Beckenham taking on Somerset. I'll be there. John will be there. I think you're going to be there. I hope you're going to be there.
Oh, you wouldn't keep me away.
It's going to be a very exciting start to the season. We've got all of the women's games this year broadcast to the highest of quality. There are going to be hundreds, if not thousands of people down watching the game. There's going to be great players involved, great crowds. Get down.
Come down, be part of history, that's what I say. So thanks everyone who's joined us on Over and Out this week. New experiment for us, but it seems to have gone down pretty well. We really appreciate everyone tuning in on YouTube, tuning in on Spotify, tuning in on Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you very much indeed. We'll be bringing this back at the end of every day of Surrey home cricket over the course of the year. Women's games, men's games, all competitions. We'll be bringing this back. We'll be featuring commentators who are working on our YouTube channel. So again, thanks everyone to the hundreds of thousands of people who've been tuning in on our YouTube channel over the course of the week. My name's Jon Surtees. Your name?
It's Cameron Ponsonby.
Thank you very much indeed to Phil Walker, to Catchy Whitney, to Yaz Rana, to Adam Collins, everyone who's contributed to Oval and Out this week. And now, Surrey v Hampshire, Rothesay County Championship at the Kia Oval. Oval and Out.